There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman begins to fall for you. It doesn't start with fireworks. Doesn't start with a confession. Starts with something so subtle most men never even notice it. It starts with a shift in the way she speaks to you. Not the words themselves, but the emotions behind them. You see, when a woman is developing feelings, she doesn't shout it from the rooftops. She won't always text you with heart emojis, or write a long paragraph pouring out her emotions. That's not how it works. Especially not with a woman who guards her heart. The truth is most high-value women aren't. These phrases might seem casual, ordinary. You've probably heard thembo and brushed them off. Boo thoughts the mistake most men make. They assume she's just being friendly. They assume it doesn't mean anything, and because of that, they miss their moment. They miss the opportunity to connect per emotionally, intellectually, and energetically, all because they weren't trained to listen to what a woman actually means when she speaks. What if I told you that some of the most powerful signs of attraction come not through her body language, not through her eye contact, not through her touch, but through a few soft, subtle sentences slip out when she feels safe, curious, and vulnerable around you. It's not just about what she says. It's when she says it, how she says it, why she says it, when no one asked her to. Because when a woman begins to develop feelings, not surface-level lust, natural attention-seeking, flirtation, but heartsy-centered emotional interest, her subconscious starts to the waters. She starts to reveal bits and pieces of her inner world. Natto everyone, not tough guy who's trying too hard. Not tough man who's seeking validation, but tough man who simply holds space. To dummin who listens with calm intensity, tough man who doesn't trust, the man who doesn't need her approval, but still makes her feel seen. That's who she opens up to. That's who she begins to signal, not with grand gestures, but with certain phrases. Shadow synth seto, just anyone. If you're not emotionally grounded, you'll miss it. I fear distracted trying to impress her, trying to get her to like ho, you'll miss it. But if you can stay present, stoic, aware, observant, you'll catch these rare cues when they appear. And here's the truth that stinks for a lot of men. Women do speak up when they start to feel something real, but they do it in code. And if you don't understand the language, she assumed we're not interested. She emotionally irritated, and you'll never even know you were this close to having everything you wanted. So, in this video, I'm going to give you the translation key. We'll break down 5 specific things a woman will say when she's catching real feelings for you. And I'll show you exactly why they matter, how to respond, and what they're ill about, the way chassis you. Because when you learn to decode these subtle phrases, you stop chasing women. Whoa, don't care. You stop doubting yourself. You stop wondering if she's playing games. And you start recognizing with total confidence when a woman is quietly falling for you, even if she hasn't admitted it to herself. Yet this in theory, this is female psychology. And by the end of this video, you'll hear women completely differently. Let's begin. Welcome to Stoic Extreme. The one place where we don't sugarcoat attraction and don't run from emotional truths. Here we break away from the shallow noise. We don't chase validation. We didn't guess. We observe. We understand. I lead. Because a man who understands a woman's psychology doesn't need to ask if she's interested. He already knows. Not Baka. She told him directly, but Becca. He's trained himself to see faces that others miss. Doesn't look for dramatic confessions or performative acting. He listens to her patterns. Notices the shifts, the pauses, though unspoken meanings hiding behind what seems casual. You see, when a woman is developing feelings, and I'm not talking about surface-level attention or lust. I'm talking about real emotional investment. Something changes in her communication. She begins to speak to you differently, not with louder words, but with deeper, not with more affection, but with more vulnerability. And the moment you learn to recognize his cues, everything changes. Suddenly, you stop wasting energy chasing women who were never emotionally able. You stop getting blindsided. A girl you was just a friend starts pulling away because you missed her emotional cues weeks ago. You stop operating in the dark and start standing in clarity. Now, let me be clear. Women are emotional creatures, but that doesn't mean they're irrational. In fact, their language is precise if you know how to listen. Because every emotionally charged sentence they say, every little offhand mark, every casual compliment, every late-night message that starts with "it probably shouldn't say this," but is a psychological breadcrumb. And most men, they step right over it. Why? Because no one ever taught them that female attraction isn't always loud. It's soft, It's subtle, it's strategic. C. Women didn't always confess when they're falling. That's a risk that protect your heart. They don't want Tobe, Theon, who cared more. So, instead, they drop hints. They test, they express their feelings in ways that give them just enough coverto retreat if you don't feel the same. But if you do feel same and you recognize her signal, you've opened the door to something deeper than just physical attraction. That's what this video is about. This is some recycled list of pickup tips. This isn't manipulation. This isn't game. This is decoding of the emotional language. Women actually use their hearts are starting to shift toward you. I'm going to walk you through 5 very specific a woman will say when she's developing real feelings for you. And each one comes with a psychologicalians, why it matters, what it reveals, and what you need to do the moment you hear it. These phrases may seem small to the untrained men, but to the grounded high value men, they are as signals of emotional lacks. And if you respond with calm, confident energy, if you don't freak out, chase, or overthink, she feels some effing, even more rare safety. Because Heuristic paradox, the more deeply a woman feels for you, the more vulnerable she becomes, and the more fear she hides behind casual phrases. That's why your job isn't to push. So, understand to hold space for her emotional honesty even when it's quiet. And if you can, doth it, you don't just beck the man shellix, you become none. She trusts the man she opens her soul to. The man she thinks about at 2 a.m., the man she compares every other man to, and none of them ace her up. So get ready because what you're about to hear will permanently change how you understand women. Let's break down thy first phrase she say when she's sketching real feelings for you, and why it's far more powerful than I love you. 1. I've never told anyone this before. You're sitting there may bites over coffee. Maybe it's a text that came in at 1:37 a.m. Or maybe it's those long walks where the night makes people say things they usually keep buried. Quietly, cautiously. She says it, I've never told anyone this before. Now, most men don't think twice about that sentence. They smile, they nod, they're flattered, she's opening up, but they don't realize what's really happening here. And it's huge because women are not emotionally careless. Especially not with their vulnerability. For most women, emotional intimacy is occurred, and it's not something they just give away to anyone they're talking to. When she says this phrase, it's you 2 things. 1. Bathers, something personal and important coming, and to that you are not just another guy. You've passed a quiet test. C. This phrase only comes out when a woman trusts you and not just I think you're in his trust. I'm talking about the kind it off trusted. Says you feel safe enough for me Tobe, unfiltered. I'm not performing. I'm not trying to impress. I'm revealing. Most women live their lives wearing armor, smiling when they don't want to, laughing when they're exhausted, keeping their real thoughts locked away because many men use them, twist them, or ruin from them. But when a woman begins to catch feelings, her emotional walls start to shift. Not fall down, shift. She doesn't drop of everything at once. That's too risky. Instead, she offers you a glimpse a piece of her emotional truth, and watches how you're spend, and the phrase, I've never told anyone this before. I a doorway into her emotional world. Now, here's what separates high-value men from the rest. What you do in that moment. Most men, they downplay it, or they mac-eyed about themselves. Oh yeah, I went through something similar once. No, that kills moment. A grounded man does the opposite. He listens fully, quietly, with his entire presence, no judgment, no rush, no need to fix her. Just space, strong masculine, unwavering space for her to be real. That's what women crave. Because when a woman shares something deeply personal, a childhood wound and insecurity, a moment she regrets, a family secret, and you don't flinch. You didn't pity her. You don't try to explain it away. Something powerful happens. She emotionally bonds to you. That bond is not verbal. It's not verbal. It's chemical, neurological. Her brain starts to associate you with safety. And once that association is formed, you're not just a crush anymore. You're something more. So the next time a woman says, I've never told anyone this before, pause, look her in the eye. Let her feel your stillness, because what she's releasing is, I'm starting to trust you and I want to know. Can you handle ethereal me? 2. I feel like I can be myself around you. At first glance, it sounds like a generic compliment. You've probably heard it in movies, maybe even from friends. You just feel easy to talk to. I can totally be myself with you. But when a woman you're dating or just getting to know says this to you with sincerity, pay attention because this Sony goes deeper than most men realize. When a woman says, I feel like I can bend myself around you, what she's actually saying is, you don't make me feel like I need to perform. You don't make me feel like I have to pretend. I feel safe dropping the mask and still wanted. And thoughts rare for a woman, very rare. Jaw have to understand something powerful about female psychology. Most women are constantly adjusting based in who they're around. They're taught Tomo when they're uncomfortable. They're taught to be agreeable, polite, cute, feminine, sexy, depending on who's watching. They carry an invisible pressure every day to fit into the version of themselves that's most acceptable. So, when you come along, Andy, our presence doesn't demand anything, alright? When you're not fishing for compliments, not seeking validation, not pushing her toe. Be more fun, more chill, more hot. Ethos are often the best way possible. Bees you're unaffected. You're not trying to win her, you're just being. That energy is, and in that energy, she feels the rarest thing of all. Freedom. Freedom to laugh awkwardly. To talk about something weird. To ask a dumb question. To cry without explaining why. To admit she's tired. To let her guard down. Not because you forced her to, but because you didn't. And here's what most men mean. When a woman says she can be herself around you, she's giving you a green light emotionally, subconsciously, spiritually. She's saying there's something different about you. I don't feel the need to perform. I feel safe just existing. That's not about looks. That's not about money. That's not about status. That's about energy. Your grounded masculine person gives her permission to relax into her natural feminine energy. No filter, no fear. That's why women fall hard for stoic men. Not thick-old kind, but the rooted kind. The man who doesn't try to impressando, as in chase. The man who listens without trying to fix. The man who doesn't need attention because hell already has intention. That's the man she can be herself around. That's the man's trusts. That's the man she starts to picture in her future. Even if she hasn't admitted it to herself yet. Seth, next time she says, I just feel like I can be myself when I'm with you. Don't just smile and say thanks. Recognize it for what it is. A sign of emotional unlocking. A gateway to deep connection. A rare moment where she's showing you her soul and asking, can I stay here? And if your energy is strong enough, she will. 3. What are we or where is this going? This is the one that tends to scare most men, and that's exactly why it matters. When a woman looks you in the eye and says, what? Or where is this going? What she's really doing is handing you a Ruth. Most men immediately assume it's pressure. They panic. They feel trapped. They think she's trying to control me. She wants to define things too fast. She's being needy. And with that mindset, they shut down. They avoid question. They dodge it with jokes. They say things like, let's just see where it goes. Or, we're just having fun, right? But here's the truth most men didn't see when a woman asks this question. She's not trying to trap you. She's trying to see you. She's trying to understand. If the emotional connection she feels is something you're feeling too, or if she's been romanticizing, zamming, that's only one-sided, and that terrifies her more than it ever will. You understand this. A woman's emotions don't just rise because she likes your face, or your jobber, your style. Her feelings grow from presence, from the YOV been showing up in her life, intentionally or not. If you've made her law, if you've been there when she'll panned up, if you've seen her unfiltered and still made her feel wanted, she'll feel something whether you meant to it. So when she finally asks where are it is going, she's not asking for alibel, asking for clarity. She's suffering emotional vulnerability and watching how you hold it. This is theme it, where you show what kind of man you really are. A love man avoids the question, he deflects it. He does want responsibility for her emotions, so he withdraws. But a grounded man, a stoic emotional person, man doesn't react. He responds. He takes a breath. He tells the truth. Maybe the truth is, I'm still figuring jet out. Booty value what we have. And want to keep building. Or maybe the truth is, I care about you, but I don't want anything serious right now. Either way, the point is this, you face them with calm certainty. No fear, no just hones. Because when a woman asks this question, she already knows how she feels. Gi just wants to know if you're emotional and mature enough to handle it. If you can meet her vulnerability without shutting down, she'll feel safer around you than ever has. Not because you gave her the answer she wanted, but because you gave her the truth she needed, and in thought truth, real. 4. I miss you when she doesn't need to say it. Now, let's be clear. Anyan can say, I miss you, and Mani do. Sometimes it's flirty. Sometimes it's sarcastic. Sometimes it's complete leanings, a reflex in a conversation, a placeholder for something else. But a woman genuinely says, I'm a Sue. Not out of obligation, not to fill a silence, not as a response, but on her own, unprovoked, unprompted. That's something goes entirely. That's feeling speaking. That's the sound of emotional absence. That's her heart reaching out for your presence, not your texts, not your attention, but you. Because when a woman starts to miss you, it's not always because you're gone, it's because something abudu lingers in her mind. A conversation, a look, the way you listen without judgment, the way you didn't try to fix her, the way you made her feel like she could breathe. And when that feeling disappears, even just for a day, her body starts to crave it again, not sexually, emotionally. Bother is the part most men don't realize. A woman doesn't say, I miss you as unless she's desperate or playing a game. High value we women didn't chase, they hint. So when she says this to you seemingly out, off no hair, it's not just affection, it's exposure. She's revealing that her thoughts are redrifting toward you. That is noticing your absence. That part of her, even the part she usually guards, wants you there. Now how's your span determines everything. You immediately jump in with I miss you too. Smiling face with hard ice bleeding face, 100 points fire. You, kill energy. You overdo it. You sound like hey you were just waiting for hair at Revolto. Feel wanted, but if you acknowledge it calmly with presence, not performance, you allow the connection. Tagra, something like that's good Tahir. I've been thinking about you, just didn't want to crowd your space. Show strength, emotional maturity, control, and control without neediness is power. Because women don't just miss men who make them laugh. They miss men who make them feel safe inside their emotions. And when she says, I miss unsolicited, it's your Sue. She's not just thinking about the past. She's hoping for a future. 5. You're a different. If you ever hear a woman say this, don't just smile and say, thank you. Don't shrug it off like it's casual. Kustis phrase, perhaps more than any other, is a confession. I've never met a guy like you before. You're not like most men I talk to. There's something about you. I can't quite explain it. You're just different. Now, let's break this down. What she's really saying here isn't about your haircut, your style, or your job. She's not talking about your hobbies. She's not talking about your Spotify playlist. She's talking about your energy, your presence, the way you'll make her feel. She's telling you that who disrupted her emotional pattern. Cause most men operate from the same emotional butrint. They chase. They overex. They try to prove their worth. They joke too much. They react too fast. And worst of all, they need her to feel something for them just so they can feel like Ammon. But when you come along and you don't chase, when you don't brag, when you don't flinch in the face of silence, when you can sit across from her with grounded presence and look her in thigh without folding, you stand out. You'll becometh calm in her storm. You cometh one guy who doesn't try to perform. You become the man who carries himself. He knows who he is with or with her, and that shakes her core. That's what your different means. It means you've made her feel something she hasn't felt in a long time, maybe ever. A sense of respect, intrigue, curiosity, desire. She's trying to categorize Sue and failing. She's trying to predict their behavior and can't. You're not pushing her. You're not begging her. You're not rushing anything. And that can fusses her in the most beautiful way. Back. Most men who want her chase. And most men who don't withdraw. Butu, you're still. You're not chasing, but you're present. You're not attached, Butu connected. Not reacting, Butu are aware. That's what she means when she says you're different. And when she says it, don't gloat. Don't try to even more different. Just keep buying. You stay in that energy because that phrase is the edge of emotional surrender. It's the threshold. Shadow doesn't even realize yet that what she's saying is, you're the kind of man I didn't know I needed until now. And if you stay in your truth, she lean in even further. So now, you know, when a woman starts developing real feelings, she doesn't always come out and say it directly. She reveals it in moments, in tone, in patterns, in 5 quiet sentences that most men miss, but the emotionally aware man never does. She might say, I've never told anyone this. That's trust. I feel like I can mind myself around you. That's safety. What are we? That's investment. I'm ASU. That's emotional attachment. And finally, You're different. That's impact. But the real question now is, what will you do with this awareness? Because knowing these signs means nothing unless you learn how to respond. Most men sabotage the connection after these moments. They get nervous, they say too much. Or worse, they overthink and do nothing. But a high-value man, a stoic man, he responds with calm power, with presence, with stillness. And if you want to take this deeper, if y'all want to know exactly what to say, wenchapon's up to you. The phrase is fat melt their emotional defenses and build a resistible connection without chasing. E made a full video on it. Tap the one right here on your screen. Becca Sewell know how to respond when she says these 5 things. You'll no longer wonder if she likes you. You'll know. You won't have to ask, analyze, or seek approval. You'll feel it in her voice, her words, her silence, and she will feel something just as powerful in Ritter. A man who sees her hears her and makes her feel safe to want more. So do this. If this video resonates with you, hit that like button. It helps more grounded stoic men find fizz massage. Subscribe to the channel. I fear tired off surface level content. You're ready for real psychologic about women and attraction, and smash that bell icon. Because every week we drop content that cuts through the noise. Content that most men simpler aren't ready to hear. This old stoic, where we don't chase, we attract with presence. Where we don't beg, we lead. And where we don't settle for attention, we command respect. I'll see you in the